Grief is not just something you get over, and I did not fully understand that until I lost someone who was close to me recently. As human beings in the ordinary course of our lives, we acquire things and we fall in love when we make friends. It is the loss of those things and the people that we have met and loved that can send us into an unending spiral of grief. And as human beings in those situations, we do what we know best, which is to try and adapt and move on. But the impact of our loss determines how further we can move, or whether it is even possible to move on from our grief. But because we're different, a lot of us deal with our grief differently. Some of us are brazen with our loss, unashamed of it, and they grieve out loud, able to ask for help and receive it. While to some, grief may be crippling and it just shuts them down and they withdraw into themselves, unable to move forward, and they're constantly caught in that state of overthinking, not knowing where to look for help. It dawned to me that I did not truly understand grief until recently, when I lost someone who was really close to me, and the impact of that loss forced me to look inward and determine what that loss means to me and how do I carry it moving forward. The first thing we need to understand about our grief is that the timing of our loss is irrelevant. It is very tempting to think that losing someone who was a senior is much more easier to handle than losing someone who was a couple of months old. And that couldn't be further from the truth, because when we lose something or someone we love, it matters not how long we had it. What matters in that moment is that we lost it, and we feel as though we cannot move on without that thing or that person. That kind of thinking can make us really insensitive to grieving people and even to ourselves. When we grieve the things that we love, we often want to justify our loss, that we've had it long enough and that losing it is okay. But human beings aren't wired to lose things. We're not wired especially to lose people we love. And so grief is some kind of protest in our bodies that lets us know that something is wrong, because we're grieving the permanence of the loss of someone we love. Grieving would become a lot more easier if the thing that we lost or the person that we lost was not permanent. But the permanence of the thing we lost makes our reality, our present reality, even much more clearer. Because we've always been with that person, or because we've always been with that thing that we care about, we feel as though we're unable to move forward without it, because it is the one thing, it is the one constant that we've had throughout our lives. Loss is final, and our hearts and our minds know this, and they protest over the fact that we have to let go of the people that we love permanently, and that what we have left of them are only memories which will only fade with time. And so we grieve what has been, we grieve our past, we grieve the things that we wanted to do that we didn't get to do, we grieve the things that we said that we regret saying, and there's an element of guilt in thinking that we could have intervened and helped the people that we have lost. But the truth of the matter is, with grief, all of us are helpless. And so the first thing we need to do is accept that we are helpless, that there is nothing we can do to stop losing the people that we love. And sitting in that moment of loss is what conjures up those feelings of grief, because we know that there is nothing we can do. Age is irrelevant in grief, whether it's the person who's grieving or the person who is being grieved. It matters not how long you had the thing when you lose what you love. What matters in that moment is that you lost it and you couldn't possibly recover it regardless of what you do. And so all grief is valid. And that is something that I had to unlearn and accept for myself, that my grief is not unreasonable, that my grief is directly proportional to the love I had for the person that I lost. And so I had to sit with those feelings and truly accept the impact of what that loss has had on me. Life and everything that has to do with it is fleeting, but its departure is permanent. And this thinking for me got affirmed by a book I read recently called Notes on Grief by the author Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie, who writes in note 10 of that book, "Age is irrelevant in grief. At issue is not how old he was, but how loved," speaking of the loss of her own father. And so grief is directly proportional to the love you had for the person that you lose, or the love you had for the thing that you lost, whether it is your job, a loving relationship, or whether you lost someone through death. It matters not how old they were, how healthy or sickly they were. What matters is that you loved them, and now you feel like you cannot anymore because they're not physically with you. Grief in a sense kind of makes the urgency of life more palpable because we know we can lose the things and the people that we love. It also kind of reminds us of the urgency of life and truly living in the present and enjoying the things that we have. Because we know that there's a possibility of losing the things and the people that we care about, this thought compels us to be our most truest selves to those people that we love, to love them out loud and use the opportunities that we can to tell the people that we care about that we do care about them. Because the reality of the possibility of losing the things that we have is always present in our minds. The difficult thing to accept about grief is its loneliness. It is to accept that grief in itself is isolating. People can lose the same thing at the same time, but the impact of that loss will be different to each individual. Grief is lonely, and it is okay to have those feelings of loneliness because grief in itself is isolating. But all of us need support. I don't think anyone can get through grief without some kind of support system, regardless of how the support shows itself from the people that we love and the resources that are at our disposal. But the feelings of the loneliness of grief, even when you have that amount of support, is normal. So all of this is to say that it is okay to struggle with grief. I, like you and many other people, struggle with grief. It is okay to grapple with its permanence and to feel its isolation and loneliness. It is okay to grieve what has been, but you don't have to stay there. You can look forward to what will be. So hold yourself gently and be patient with yourself. And at some point, it'll get easier to live with that loss and life will feel like it is normal again. And one way to move on and learn to live without grief is to try and live the best versions of our lives. So please click on the video linked on the screen where I take you through a book that shows us just how to do that. So please click on the video linked on the screen and I'll see you there.